On Tuesday, September 14th, 2021, Californians will cast their ballots in a potentially history-making election. Today, we'll give some background on the recall, talk about the important issues, review the candidates, and give my final prediction on the election. This election could very well be one for the history books, so stay tuned. Gavin Newsom was elected back in 2018 by 20 points. Newsom's massive victory has put him in the national spotlight, and voters were excited for his bold plans. However, as the COVID-19 pandemic ramped up, Newsom closed down the state in an effort to mitigate cases. This was successful from a medical perspective, as California had some of the lowest per capita cases according to Johns Hopkins University. Keep in mind that the Golden State has the most people out of any state in the union. But the Newsom-ordered lockdowns drew the ire of conservatives, and a recall effort was started. There have been plenty dead-in-the-water recall efforts to recall Newsom since he took office, but with dissatisfaction at a high, the petitioners took advantage of an extension on the filing deadline. They managed to surpass the 1.5 million signatures needed and triggered a recall election. What's interesting about California's recall laws are how little is required. A mere 12% of the votes cast in the 2018 gubernatorial election were needed. So, now, what are the issues driving this recall? Newsom's use of lockdowns is one of the top issues as we discussed earlier. There are also plenty of recurring issues being brought up. I checked out the top 4 candidates' websites and they all had common themes. Homelessness is a big one, as many politicians have not sufficiently tackled it on a large scale. Lower spending and taxes is another common issue. The wording varies on each candidate's platform, but most candidates support lower taxes and all but Kevin Paffrath support less spending. Candidates are investing a lot of thought into wildfires, which is a collective problem for Californians. Otherwise, most issues are the ones you'd see in any state: improving infrastructure, education, and gaining ground with immigration. There is a wild assortment of candidates. 46 are on the ballot, so I'll only cover the frontrunners who have a chance of winning. First off, we have the polling leader, Larry Elder. He is a well-known radio host. Elder was a late entry, but since he plunged into the race, the Elder campaign has changed the landscape of the election. Elder is polling around 30% according to 538, nearly 20 points better than any other candidate. However, Elder is taking most of the anti-recall attacks and is being painted as the face of the effort. Let's get into the issues. Larry Elder is a conservative, and his platform mostly reflects that. He supports encouraging vaccines, cutting spending, reducing regulation on the housing market, ensuring in-school learning, storing more water in case of droughts, and increasing wildfire prevention. Larry Elder is definitely the frontrunner to replace Newsom, but his controversial statements from the past have provided ammunition to his opponents. Next up is one of 2 Kevins, Kevin Paffrath, currently trailing Larry Elder at around 7%. Paffrath runs a YouTube channel called Meet Kevin, discussing investing and other business topics. Kevin Paffrath has surged in media recognition and is the only leading Democrat. He's a self-proclaimed JFK-style Democrat, and his platform is very unorthodox. I would recommend reading his very in-depth plans. The gist of them, though: extreme action on homelessness, building police trust and more funding towards training, reducing regulations to build housing while increasing production, and abolishing the state income tax. Meet Kevin is a very interesting candidate, and we'll see how he does on election night. The second Kevin Faulconer. Faulconer is a former mayor of San Diego and a moderate Republican. He hasn't got much attention since he jumped into the race, leading to only 5% in polling. Faulconer's plans come down to this: streamlining government wildfire response and increasing prevention funding, cutting taxes, reducing homelessness with mental health services and beds, and helping restaurants recover from the pandemic. Faulconer's campaign had a lot of potential, but it hasn't really gone anywhere. Finally, John Cox. He has high name ID from being the Republican challenger in the 2018 governor race. You may know him as the dude who brought a bear to his campaign rallies. John Cox used to be the frontrunner, but when another well-known conservative in Larry Elder entered, his polling has crashed from 20% to 5%. Cox's platform includes increasing police funding, wildfire prevention, lowering housing costs, cutting taxes, and advocating for school choice. John Cox is more of a meme than a serious candidate, so I don't have high expectations for him. And lastly, what is the official Election Watch analysis prediction for its election? So far, Newsom's approval rating remains steady above the water, and no major scandals have rocked the governor. In another light, the national mood has only shifted towards the Republicans as Biden's approval rating has dropped. And a win here will be part of a historical pattern. The party out of power has always had an upset win in the traditional stronghold of the party in power. Think Scott Brown in the 2010 Massachusetts Senate race and Doug Jones in Alabama in 2017. Finally, the early vote data is very, very favorable to Democrats. The vast majority of early votes are Democratic, and research shows a majority of both parties are voting by mail. Republicans need gargantuan election day turnout to win this. Here is my county map for the recall, just the yes and no questions. I applied Romney-esque margins to most counties, boosted the rural areas, and applied a mostly uniform rightward swing in the Bay Area. I think the GOP will gain in the rurals, bring back some affluent voters in the southern portion of the state, like in Orange County, and finally improve with Hispanic voters. My map for the candidates is as follows. Larry Elder will take this top spot, followed by Kevin Paffrath, then Kevin Faulconer, and then John Cox. After them, about 40 irrelevant candidates who will likely have little impact. Of course, we'll see how this ages on election night on Tuesday, September 14th, 2021. So, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. I am not going to be live streaming on election night, though I'd like to, but I am just a little busy, so I can't make it. But a good friend of mine, Political Prediction and Analysis, is live streaming with both American Predictions, who many of you know, and Matthew Tar Predicts, an up-and-coming election prediction channel. I'll leave a link down in the description to the live stream, so make sure you stop by and tell them EWA sent you. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.